counsel table Detective Justin Cotney, Marcia Perugini, and Assistant DA Melissa Zillaby.
Morning, Your Honor. Zachary Zahawi and Merle Josty on behalf of Mr. Rasch. He's present for the court. Also present is Samantha Denamer.
All right. We prepared for the jury?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
No problem. All right. Bring in the jury, please. All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Question of the day. The question of the day is there anyone who did not follow the rules the court set down last evening and every evening prior to last evening? No one has raised their hand. There was a question that was asked yesterday about the protection of your names as jurors, and I checked on it, and in fact the juror list is a sealed document in the court file, so it cannot be opened, so the public does not have access to your names as jurors. So, on a lighter note, you have peanut butter balls that my wife dipped last night, so you can try those. And for those of you who haven't figured it out by the name, they contain peanut butter. So if you have a nut allergy, please stay away from that particular product. And if you think they're any good, I'll bring the recipe at some point or another later, early next week. So I actually got the recipe. A fun story about it is I got the recipe. An assistant district attorney in Dodge County had those peanut butter balls on a very nice little plate on his desk at Christmas time. And I was in talking to him about a case, and there was, I believe, when I got into the office, there was 6 of them presented very nicely on this sterling silver plate, and when I got out of the office, there was none of them. And the next day, he showed up in court and he handed me a 3x5 recipe card in a plastic sleeve and said, my wife thought perhaps you may want this recipe. I said, I do, thank you. So, many, many years ago. Anyway.
State would call Tyler Anderson.
Sir, come on up here to come right around the court reporter. To my right, to your left, please be careful. There's a ramp that leads up to the witness stand. When you get to the top of the ramp, please stand and raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please proceed.
Good morning. Could you please state your first and last name and spell both?
Matthew Anderson, Matthew Anderson.
And sorry, and you go by Tyler, correct?
Tyler is my middle name, correct?
How are you employed?
I'm employed with the Mid-States Organized Crime Information Center, located in Springfield, Missouri.
And what is that organization?
So we are one of 6 national regional information sharing system centers across the U.S. Our center covers a 9-state region, primarily in the Midwest, and we provide case support to our member law enforcement agencies.
Does your organization only provide support to law enforcement agencies or private organizations as well?
Primarily in the criminal justice apparatus.
And generally, what type of support is provided by your, is there a short acronym for your organization?
Correct. We typically go by MOCIC.
Okay. And so what type of support does MOCIC provide?
So we provide everything from intelligence and information sharing, equipment loans, analytical support, research, and investigative support as well.
What is your current position within the organization?
My current position is the analytical supervisor. So I oversee both criminal intelligence as well as digital forensics analyst and provide case support to agencies as well.
And what does that mean, digital forensics analyst?
So digital forensics analysts typically extract any type of seized or search warrant cell phones. They can do audio and visual clarification, things of that nature.
And do you also provide mapping for location information on phones?
Correct. So the criminal intelligence analysts, they provide anything from timelines, association charts, mapping cellular records, social media records, things like that.
Do you typically get involved in a case from the very beginning, at the end, right before the case goes to trial, or a combination of both?
It's a combination of both.
And do you assist district attorney's offices as well in preparing demonstrative evidence for trials?
We do.
And do you personally have prior law enforcement experience?
Not sworn prior law enforcement experience. I started as a criminal intelligence analyst at MOCIC in 2019, and prior to that, I was a criminal intelligence analyst with the Missouri State Highway Patrol, performing the same basic duties.
With respect to just cell phone mapping and the analyzing of cell phones, what training have you received?
So I've received 2 separate 40-hour-long courses from FBI's National Domestic Communication Assistance Center, and that training just provided the interpretation and analysis of cellular records. I also was in a 40-hour course with Hawk Analytics, now Leads Online, so that provided the mapping and analysis of cellular records and certification with that program as well. And I also have around 30 plus hours of individual web-based, location-based training for cellular records, Google records, social media records, things of that nature as well.
And I don't know if you can estimate this, we'll say in the last 2 years, approximately how many different cases have you worked on to perform cell phone mapping?
So we typically average about 100 cases per year, and 75% of those would be directly related to cellular mapping and analysis.
Now, drawing your attention to sometime after June of 2024, were you, well, let me ask you this first. Does MOCIC have a contract with the Dodge County Sheriff's Office to provide services on their investigative cases if they need additional analytical support?
So they pay a yearly membership fee, and with that, they can use our analytical services or any other organization services.
So just so that it's clear, there is a cost to your service, but it's basically a flat fee regardless of the number of cases that you work for the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. Is that accurate?
Correct. It depends on the size of the agency.
And did you provide those services for a homicide investigation that began for the Sheriff's Office in June of 2024?
I did.
And did those services include location mapping for Google data information and cell tower information?
It did.
So how does the Dodge County Sheriff's Office then get you information? What is that process?
So typically a detective or someone from the Sheriff's Office will contact us and then request whatever assistance they may need, and then securely share that information via our risk files system.
So, and what is a risk file system? What does that mean?
So it's just a secure sharing platform, so they can upload the documents they received from the phone provider or Google or whomever.
And document sharing, can these files sometimes be very large that are sharing back and forth between agencies?
They could be.
Now, we talked about cell tower mapping. What is a cell tower?
So it's basically a structure that has antennas on it, in which the antenna and a phone or device will communicate with each other.
And in a rural area, are there a lot of cell towers or not a lot of cell towers generally?
Generally, there's not as many cell towers in rural areas.
And I don't know if this is your first time to Dodge County or not, but generally, would you describe this area as a rural area?
Correct.
And in a more suburban or metropolitan area, just for example, well, I guess we'll take you reside in Missouri, correct?
I do.
So we'll take, say, Branson, Missouri, which is a tourist location similar to the Wisconsin Dells. To compare it to Wisconsin, are there a lot of cell towers in that area?
It would all depend on the population and infrastructure needs.
So is there an area in Missouri that would have a large concentration of cell towers?
Larger cities.
For example, what city in Missouri would have more cell towers than, say, a rural area?
St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield.
Now, what type of location information can a cell tower provide?
So it can provide the latitude and longitude of the cell tower itself. It can provide the record or timestamp of that individual phone record. It can provide the sector or side of the tower that was utilized. And depending on the type of record, it can also provide the approximate distance the phone was from the tower based off timing delay.
Now going to Google data information, what is that?
Are you referring, can you
So
clarify?
if I give, well, let's just go, in this case, you received both cell tower information and Google data information, correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit and moved into evidence, exhibit 296. This was moved in through Detective Michael Lake. If we could have the projector, please, Judge. Oh, okay.
You do.
Thank
you
you.
did.
Thank you.
I'm on top
And
of
we'll
my game
start.
this morning.
We'll start with, so this is now the opened flash drive of Exhibit 296. We'll start with that document at the very top, which is a phone number, 920-344-2922, which is Zachariah Rasch's phone number. And what are we, I'm not going to have you go in detail here, but generally what are we looking at here? This first column, what does this show us?
It shows you the date of the record,
And then the next column,
the time of the record,
the next column,
the duration of the record,
and then the next column.
the target number or the calling number.
So would this be then, for example, an outgoing call, incoming call, or we can't see that from this precise record that we have here?
So these specific records are what Verizon refers to as RTT, and so there is no incoming and outgoing calls. It's just records based off the phone itself and its communication with the tower.
And what does that mean, communication with the tower then? What types of things would communicate with the tower?
So your phone is anywhere you move across, time and space. Your phone is constantly reaching out to the tower to try and determine, which tower is best for that particular device as far as the optimal signal.
So then going to the next column, column E, what is that?
That is an IMEI. It's the International Mobile Equipment Identifier. So that's just the unique identifier of the physical phone itself.
And so if I looked on the physical phone that was possessed by Zachariah Rasch, it would have that IMEI number.
It would have an IMEI, correct?
And that gets communicated over through the tower, basically, that IMEI number.
No, it typically is just a unique identifier for a specific phone.
Okay. The next number.
That is the IMSI, which is just Verizon subscriber identity for this particular phone.
And how is that number determined?
It is determined by the phone provider.
So does Verizon assign that number then to the device?
Yes.
Okay. And then this next column, G, that appears to be empty with these records. Is that accurate? Or at least with the records that we can see right now.
Correct. So that column indicates 5G cell towers. So if there are no 5G cell towers within a particular area, you will not get any of those records.
Okay. And then moving to column H.
And so that's called an eNode B ID. So each individual cell site or cell tower will have a unique identifier, and that is one of those unique identifiers. And they also provide the sector or side of the tower that was utilized, which is also in that column.
Okay, and we'll get to in a minute what you do with these records, but I just want to kind of demonstrate the difference between the two records. So closing this out and now going to the Zach and Crystal Rasch 2008 record, which is at the very bottom, and it says Google data. So on this first page, there's a tab at the very bottom. It says subscriber info. So going to the third line, it says name. Who would enter that information?
That would be provided by whomever originally signed up for that Google account.
And then the same thing with given name and family name. Is that provided by the subscriber who signed up for the account?
Correct.
And then going down, it says created on. I guess the specific email we have is that Gmail address, Zach and Crystal 2008 at gmail.com. That's the email address, but also the Google ID, correct?
So when you say Google ID,
Or just that Google, that's how we sort of track, that's the Google name that we're referencing
correct.
here. The next line, created on, what does that indicate?
That indicates the time the account was created.
Okay. And then the final line that we'll go through today is the terms of service IP address. What is that?
So whenever you create an account, you have to opt into or agree to the terms of services for Google, and that's just the IP address that was used by the user at that time.
Okay. And then we'll go to the last tab at the bottom of the page, which is the location history. And let's start right at the very top. There's sort of a disclaimer at that top box. What is that disclaimer at the top about the location information?
So that basically describes that the estimated device location it comes with a latitude, longitude, and an estimated radius, and that is what that disclaimer is referencing.
So this doesn't necessarily tell us this person is at the exact location. We would have to use other investigative techniques to confirm this information, correct?
Correct.
So then going, this first line, we have a timestamp, and what does that tell us there?
So typically Google will provide all of their records in UTC, which is Universal Time Coordinated Time Format.
And we did have testimony about this, but do you know the adjustment in Wisconsin in June? So I think that would be Central Daylight Time in June.
It would be -5 hours from UTC.
And then I think we need to scroll all the way over now on this, and we'll get additional information. What do we have now here?
So in column B, you will see the timestamp adjusted to, central, and then you'll also have the latitude and longitude of the estimated device location. And then you'll have the estimated radius of that location.
What does that mean, the estimated radius?
So typically, since these are estimated device locations, Google will provide an estimated radius stating that the device is likely somewhere within that amount of meters or location.
And then column F.
It's the source of the record.
And GPS, most people know what that means, but what does that mean, GPS?
It's global positioning satellites.
And then the column G,
It's the device tag or a unique ID for location history for this device.
and how is that number generated, if you know?
It's generated through Google.
Okay. And then H.
It's just the platform of the service. So if Android,
So if we were using an Apple device, for example, it would likely be a different platform, correct?
it would likely be.
So now, these two different records, what do you ultimately do with these type of record? Well, let's start with the tower information. What do you do with that information to then create a demonstrative a device that shows us some potential location information for the phone?
Right. So we take that information and we ingest it into a software program we use called Cellhawk, and it will visually depict the records in cartographic format or mapping format.
And are you trained on the use of Cellhawk?
I am.
And when you input the data into Cellhawk, is there something that you do to ensure the accuracy of the end product that you get from Cellhawk?
We have a peer review process, and then we also spot check. So we take the records within the program and then compare it to an outside program, whether it be Google Earth, Google Maps, just that latitude and longitude.
And did you do that in this case?
I did.
And then likewise with the Google data, do you use that same software or something else?
Same software, correct?
And then do you have that same spot checking procedure?
Correct, for all of our products.
Okay, so we can close out of Exhibit 296. The date range, in this case, did you map all of, well, first tower location, I believe you only mapped tower location for June 24th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
And just for that phone number, 2922, correct?
Correct.
For the Google data information, did you map from June, well, I think actually you mapped from June 26th to June 11th for Zach and Crystal Rasch, 2008, correct?
Correct.
And then Crystal Rasch, 86, correct?
Correct.
And then Crystal Rasch, 8.
There was no location records for that specific account.
And just for the record, you did map June 26th, but for the purposes of your testimony today, June 26th was removed from the exhibits, but the state has prepared Exhibit 399. Have you reviewed all of your demonstrative maps in anticipation of your testimony today?
Yes.
And those are all accurate and spot checked.
Correct.
And all of those maps, with the exception of that June 26th, are contained on State's Exhibit 399. Permission to move that into evidence at this time and begin displaying those to the jury.
Any objection?
So you should, I can give you a copy of 399, but that would have been just the original. Yeah, can you bring it up on the hard drive?
Oh, yeah, I just need to see what it is, though, before I can. Sure. Let me just copy these onto my.
Any objection?
No. No objection, Judge.
All right, will be received.
So starting, we're gonna start with the Verizon RTT records for that phone number. If we can just, thank you. So this is the sort of finished product, correct?
Correct.
And it's gonna be an animated program, correct?
Correct.
And it moves through pretty fast, so if we can just slow down the playback speed to 0.05. And so we'll, you were provided some information from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. Is that accurate for significant locations as part of the investigation? Is that accurate?
Correct.
So this red, there's already been testimony here that this red pen here, that's N3251 Wood Road, Juneau, Wisconsin, and we know from testimony that that is Zachariah Rasch's residence. Is that your understanding?
It is.
And then way up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have 2 blue pens, and it's 3356 9th Avenue, Wisconsin Dells, and then another blue pen on top of that, which reads Rasch, second property. May not know this, but this is some property owned by his grandparents up in Adams County. But those are 2 residences that were provided by the Sheriff's Office for your reference point, correct?
Correct.
So then we're gonna start playing the exhibit here. And if we can just pause it for 1 moment. And we're pausing it 2 seconds in. So we see this vector here, which sort of looks red on this screen, but it was sort of in a tan color, correct? But this vector, what does this represent, this larger half circle?
So that represents the approximate distance that the device was from the cell site.
And then we have this smaller point here with a time, 12:59 and 8 seconds. So 12:59 and 8 seconds a.m. Central Standard Time. And then there's another marker here. What does that represent?
That represents the physical location of the cell site.
Okay. And when you say cell site, cell tower, correct? Okay, and we'll keep playing at 2 seconds here. Oh, pause one more time, I'm sorry. And the date of this was June 24th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And pause one more time. Now we saw sort of some vectors over, or cell site contact over on the left side of the Wood Road residence. Now pausing at 10 seconds, we see at 2:53 and 58 seconds in the AM in the morning, this half moon shape here. Again, what is that showing us?
So that arc represents the approximate distance that the device was from the cell site or cell tower.
Now, given the location of the residence, does this necessarily mean that the phone is moving?
No.
Why not?
Well, it's an individual record, and you can't determine movement based off that.
But it is making contact with two different towers, correct?
Correct.
And so even though it's making contact with two different towers, we can't say necessarily that the phone is moving, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So keep playing at 10 seconds. And pausing at 13 seconds. And we see that time continue to elapse in the early morning hours, correct?
Correct.
Now, does that mean that there's communication, phone calls, data sessions, someone manipulating the phone, or is that something else?
It could be all of the above. So typically with Verizon RTT records, they don't specify what is the specific trigger for the record as far as the source, but they indicate, they provide all of these timestamps and records based off network efficiency, so to speak.
Okay, so we'll continue playing at 14 seconds. Pausing at 25 seconds. Now we're at 6:37 a.m. and it looks like there's a larger half circle and a tower that on the map looks like in the Columbus area at 6:37 a.m. Again, can we say that the phone is necessarily moving at this point?
No.
Okay, continue playing at 25 seconds. So pausing at 55 seconds. What are we seeing on the map now?
So these are just all of these records from Verizon, and they could appear, seconds apart, but you're seeing all of the individual approximate distances of the device from the cell tower.
Does that mean the phone is moving?
Correct, yes.
That does mean the phone is moving at this point. Are we, okay. So now continuing to play at, so the time, we've got lots of bouncing here, but it looks like we're about 1:50 p.m. Central Time, correct?
Correct.
So continuing to play at 55 seconds. pause at 1 minute. What did we just see there?
Just the overall movement of the device to the northwest.
And then is that a demonstration of what then cell towers it would have been communicating with along that route?
Correct.
And then looks like the time, there's a couple of tower indications at the very top of the screen, and it would be 3:27 p.m., correct? I don't know if you can see that far.
Correct.
Starting to play at 1 minute. Pausing at 1:03. What are we seeing now?
So you see the movement of the device now to the south, heading towards the southeast.
And it looks like right now at the pausing at 4:01 time, the most recent time is 4:19 p.m. Continue to play at 1 minute and 4 seconds, please. And pause at 1 minute and 12 seconds. So now, according to the mapping software, we're about, there's several different times, but the latest time appears to be 6:27 p.m. What did we just observe on the map?
Could you clarify?
I'll ask it this way. Did we continue to see the phone move back towards the Wood Road address?
Correct.
Continuing to play at 1 minute and 12 seconds. And then this animation ends at 1 minute and 35 seconds, and it looks like the last time that we have on here, I believe is 1:53 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and it appears that 11:53 Central Daylight time. It appears that the device, once it gets to that Wood Road address, likely remains at that Wood Road address, correct? I mean, we can't say for certain, but it doesn't seem to go a great distance, at least from that address.
Within that area, correct.
Now, so we'll close out of that map and go to, then you did an overlay of the data and the cell tower, correct?
The Google location history and the Verizon RTT records, correct.
So we'll open up that, and we can just play that at the regular speed. This is for the same time period, right? June 24th for the entire day, correct?
Correct.
And I'm just going to pause 1 moment. At 18 seconds, we see some purple numbers start to pop up by that red pen. What are those purple numbers?
Those are the Google location history records.
And then what there's going to be sort of a circle around those numbers. What does that circle indicate?
That indicates the radius of that record.
And that was that column that we saw on the records, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Continue to play at 16 seconds, please. Just going to pause at 48 seconds. Are the Google location information and the tower location information, do they appear to be relatively consistent in time and location in this demonstrative piece of evidence?
They do.
Okay, continuing to play at 48 seconds. And then ending that animation at 1 minute and 36 seconds. Did we see that same movement, including the Google location information of the device going up to that Adams County residence and then returning back down to the Wood Road residence?
Correct.
Based on this animation, does it appear that the Google location information is relatively accurate for this device when you combine the tower location information? Obviously, law enforcement has other data points that they looked at as well, but just on these two, the two pieces of information here are consistent, correct?
Correct. Both record types are consistent.
And moving forward, did we rely just on Google location information for mapping?
Correct.
So we're going to go now work in reverse chronological order, starting with June 25th, and all of the mapping until we get June 11th is for the entire day, correct?
Correct.
So on June 25th, 2024, and these are all just for that Zach and Crystal Rasch 2008, except for when indicated, correct?
Correct.
And that's that subscriber indicated as Zach Rasch, correct?
Correct.
And if we could just slow this down, we'll do this like 0.06, please. Perfect. Or point, that's fine, half speed. I'm just going to pause it 1 second and 4 seconds, just so the record is clear here. Now, before the Wood Road address was in the very bottom right-hand corner of the map. Now it's sort of in the top portion of the map, correct?
Correct.
We still have the purple circles for this Google data, correct?
Correct.
And that still indicates the same thing, the radius.
Correct.
And will the map move as the location moves to capture the location of the phone?
It depends on the map.
Okay. So starting at 4 seconds, so just so the record too, right now we're at 2:57 a.m. I just wanted to ask you, I think we asked this, but I just wanted to clarify. We see some things happening with the phone. Does this necessarily mean that someone is manipulating the phone at 2:57 a.m.?
No.
So what, again, for the Google data, what could that mean?
So with the Google data, typically those record types can be triggered either actively using any type of Google service or passively. So that being said, if you have an app running in the background, or if for Gmail, if you receive an email without actively looking at your phone, that could potentially trigger a location record.
So we would have to look at other things, like you're familiar with Celebrate downloads, correct?
Correct.
So we would have to look at things like Celebrate downloads to see if there was interaction with the phone or other points of reference, correct?
Correct.
So starting at 4 seconds then on June 25th. So pausing at 28 seconds, it's 3:04, and it looks like the phone just traveled to a location in Exonia. Is that accurate?
I'm not aware of the geography,
But the map here, the phone is now at a location right here. It says Exonia, correct?
correct. Southeast from the Woods Road property area.
And it will continue to play here.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
So pausing at 38 seconds.
Go ahead. record, bring in the jury. Attorney Will, please continue.
Okay, we left off at 38 seconds on June 25th, 2024. So we'll continue. And then it looks like it ends at 47 seconds. And just before it ended, it showed the phone. The data information shows traveling 16 up through, and again, I know you're not familiar with this area, but it's the Watertown area, and then north on 26 back to that Wood Road address. Does that seem accurate?
Correct.
And I'm just going to show you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 8. And I'll just show you this quickly. This is a map, and there's a little green pin right here. And on the legend, it indicates Maple Street, and on the map it says work for the defendant's work. Is that accurate that you see on Exhibit 8?
Correct.
And I know there's a lot of information. I can tell you based on the testimony that that work is located in Ixonia. The defendant's residence is right here. Obviously, this is a zoomed out map because it includes that Adams County address on it. But when the phone travels down to Ixonia, it is going to likely to his work there. So then moving on to June, we did already view the 24th. So we'll move to the 23rd. Again, just that Google location information. We can go ahead and start. Yes, playback speed, half speed, please. So just pausing it at 4 seconds. It's 2 a.m. The location information showing the phone at that Wood Road address again. Is that correct?
The area.
The area.
Correct.
Thank you. Press play. Just pause it there. So right before we're pausing it at 8 seconds, right before we paused it, the circle kind of moved a little bit down the screen. Can we gather any information from that?
Typically not with an isolated record.
Okay. So press play again. And pause. So now we're at 22 seconds at 11:07 a.m. And you can see the phone is just north of that Beaver Dam area on the map, correct?
Correct.
We'll keep playing. At 20, we started again right at the same spot we left off. And pause at 28. At 28 seconds, by 2:03 p.m., now the phone left that Beaver Dam area, and the Google location data shows it back in the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
Playing again at 28 seconds. You could pause again, please. So here, we're at 4:35 p.m., and we keep seeing the circle radius change. Can we say anything about that?
So typically with the Google records, if the radius is a lot larger, it's indicative of Google's use of the cell tower for their data source.
And the use of the cell tower, does that tell us anything about the movement of the phone?
It's such a large area that they're referencing the estimated device location based off the location of the cell tower, so it's difficult to say that.
Could at least it tell us that it's no longer making connection with any kind of Wi-Fi signal? Or not? Could it not even tell us that?
No, typically these records are, could be seconds apart, so.
Okay, thank you. So continuing to play at 32 seconds. And pausing. If we can just rewind just a little bit. This moves very fast sometimes. So here we just backed up at 39 seconds, and at 7, so on this map here, it's showing us at 7:33 p.m. The phone is in the area of the Wood Road address, and then it pops up at 7:42 p.m. Just north. Can that be indicative of movement of the phone?
It could be. It would largely depend on the source.
Okay. And just for reference, June 23rd is a Sunday. So continuing on at 39 seconds. And now we end at 46 seconds, and we're at 10:56 p.m., and it appears that the phone remained in that area of that Wood Road address, correct?
At the end of the record, correct.
Now going on to the 22nd of June, which is a Saturday. So we're starting at 12:13 a.m. and we have a circle. And again, you previously testified. It just means that something's communicating with the phone, not necessarily that the user is manipulating the phone, correct?
Correct.
Oh, yes, thank you. Slowing down the speed again. So just pausing it at 22 seconds. So we're at, I think the earliest time I see on here is 11:03 a.m. So from the time it started until about 11:03, the phone remained in the area of Wood Road, correct?
Correct.
And then the phone jumped down to this area to the south, which you can't see the city name on the map, but we know from testimony that that is the Watertown area, and it looks like we have information 11:03, 11:24, and 11:29 that the phone is in that area. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm continuing to play at 22 seconds, and then pausing, and then the phone jumps back up to that Wood Road address area just after 12 p.m. Is that accurate?
Correct.
So continuing at 25 seconds. Pause at 37 seconds. So then we have the phone jumping down. Now we're at 6:35 p.m. Jumping to the area now south of that Watertown area, correct?
Correct.
Continuing to play at 37 seconds. Pause. So then we had the phone. If we could just rewind that, please. So start. So we had some data at 6:55 p.m. and it goes. It looks like we have 7:14 and 7:21 traveling north on 26, and then 7:27 and 7:32 p.m. in the area of Wood Road, and then over here at 7:38, this area in the white, which looks like, and you probably wouldn't know that, but I can tell you, it looks like the village of Reeseville. Would that mean that the phone went over to that area?
It would all depend on the record, so you have to take the totality of the records into account and not
Okay.
just rely on an isolated record.
Okay, so I'm gonna press play again. And then it ends at 47 seconds. And then after that little time that the phone goes over to the Reeseville area, the phone does appear to, I guess, the data appearing to go over to the Reeseville area. The phone returns to that Wood Road area and then appears to remain in that Wood Road area, correct?
Correct.
And then the time on this document at 6:22 ends at 11:26 p.m., correct?
Correct.
So now going June 21st. We're starting at 12:35 a.m. on June 21st. I think actually started at 12:30 p.m., but we'll go ahead and play. And we're still on that Wood Road area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then we have small gap in data you just pause it there at 20 seconds? That small gap in data, can we gather anything from that?
Not reliably.
Okay. And play at 20 seconds. Still, now we're at noon, still at that Wood Road address. And pause there. So now we're at 28 seconds and 2:22 p.m. So this is going to be Friday, June 21st. By 2:22 p.m., it appears the phone is now in that Exonia area, which we know is the defendant's work, correct?
Correct.
And then play, please. And then again, like before, the phone travels kind of through that water. We ended at 48 seconds again on that on June 21st, and the phone travels up through that Watertown area and then back to the area of the Wood Road residence. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Now moving to the 20th, which would be Thursday. The data starts at 12:18 in the morning. Phone's at the Wood Road address again, correct?
Correct.
And then travels down to Watertown and around 10:18, and then by 11:30 is back up to the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then it looks like the phone then travels back down to his place of employment in Exonia, correct?
Correct.
And then remains there through the evening hours. And then the phone travels back to the Wood Road address, correct?
The area, correct.
The area of the Wood Road address, thank you. Going to the 19th. You can just do this at .067. Starts out in the area of the Wood Road address on the 19th, which would be a Wednesday, correct?
On the 19th, correct.
And then we'll pause that at 16 seconds. Looks like it traveled up to the Beaver Dam area briefly, correct?
Correct.
And is now in the Watertown area around 8:30 in the morning on the 19th, correct?
Correct.
Then we'll continue playing at 17 seconds. And then by 9:30 a.m., back to the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then by 2 p.m., back to the area of his place of employment, correct?
Correct.
And then the phone returns to the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
Going to the 18th now, which would be Tuesday. Starts out, you can leave it at this speed, it's fine. Starts out at the Wood Road address, correct?
The area, correct?
And then pausing here just for a moment, 18 seconds, it looks like in the morning, around 9:15, it travels up to the area of Beaver Dam, correct?
Correct.
And then pausing again at 18 seconds. Travels over to Heartland and then back to the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
I'm sorry, Hartford. And then by 2 o'clock, it's back in that Exonia area, his place of employment, correct?
Correct.
And then at the end, we show it traveling back to the area of the Wood Road address for the rest of the evening, correct?
Correct.
Now going to the 17th, which is Monday. Starts out again in the area of the Wood Road address. Pausing it there, it looks like the data at least travels north again, correct?
Correct.
That's just north of the Oak Grove area. Is it good to Juneau? It is in the Juneau area where we are right now, where the courthouse is located. So continue playing here. Then goes back to the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then it looks like travels back to his place of employment, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then goes back to the area of the Wood Road address at the end of the animation, correct?
Correct.
Going to the 16th, Sunday. Starting out again at that area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then it looks like, let's pause that for a moment. The phone, and back it up just for a moment for me. Looks like around 12:13. Sorry, we're on the 16th, which is a Sunday. Looks like the phone does go up to the Juneau area around 12:13 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And then I saw it bounce down to the Watertown area, but maybe not. Looks like just back to the Wood Road. Oh, yep, right down there at 2:45 p.m. It's now in the Watertown area on Sunday, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and continue to play. And then by 4 p.m., it's back in the area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And it looks like it remains there for the rest of the evening on the Sunday the 16th, correct?
Correct.
Now we're going to Saturday, June 15th. We'll slow this one down a little bit, please. The phone starts out again in the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And we're still in the morning of and it's still remaining in the area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then we see it travel up. Let's pause it there at 33 seconds. Oops. We can go back. So around, are at 32 seconds, 4 p.m. It looks like it's traveling in the area of Beaver Dam here, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But we don't quite get data points at any of the shopping centers in the Beaver Dam area at this point, correct?
Correct.
And then press play, please. Oh, just pause there, 34. It looks like we do get at 4:12. It's in the area here of East Burnett and North University, correct? That's where the data point at least is, correct?
Correct.
Continuing to play, and then we get the data points going north in the area of the Walmart Supercenter and the potentially the Menards, correct?
Correct.
We can't say necessarily that the phone is in the Menards, just that that data is right underneath where the Menards location is, correct?
It's in the area. Correct.
Then we have the data point in that underneath the area of the Heritage Mall. Pen, correct?
Correct.
And then data points under the area of the Beaver Dam Food Pride. And it looks like then the data travels along 33 and then goes back to the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
That's correct.
And then for the evening, at least the evening hours so far, remains at the Wood Road address. And then this animation ends at 1 minute and 23 seconds, having the phone remain at the area in the evening hours of June 15th, remaining in that area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
Moving to the 14th, which is a Friday. I believe this one we can play more at regular speed. I think just at regular speed. So it starts out in the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
Then again, here we don't see anything. Can't necessarily say anything about that, correct?
No.
Can pause there. Looks like travels back to the work, correct?
Correct.
Play. And the phone remains at the area of his work till just past 11, and then travels back to the area of the Wood Road residence, correct?
Correct.
And then animation ends at 48 seconds, and the phone appeared to remain at that Wood Road, the area of the Wood Road residence on Friday the 14th, correct?
Correct.
Going to the 13th, which is Thursday. Play this one at regular speed. Starts out at the Wood Road address, correct?
The area, correct.
Looks like we're at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12, and then at 2 goes back to work on Thursday the 13th. And then the phone returns to the area of the Wood Road address and continue playing there. It appears to remain there for the remainder of the evening, correct?
Correct.
That animation was 48 seconds long. Now we're on Wednesday, June 12th. Play this one a little bit slower. So this starts out in the early morning hours, area of the Wood Road address. And we're at 7 a.m. still in the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then pause. I was pausing at 37 seconds. Now the phone at 9:19 a.m. looks like it's in that Beaver Dam area, correct?
Correct.
We'll play again. And then by 10:12 a.m. looks like back in the area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And then it looks like by just before 2 p.m., the phone, we're pausing it at 55 seconds. The phone is back in Ixonia in the area of his work, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and play. And he remains there till just past 11. And looks like the phone has then traveled back to the area of the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And the animation ends at a minute 36. And he remains at the area of the Wood Road address, correct? So we have, let's pause this real quick. So this, we'll play this, play it one time through just at normal speed. All right. So this is June 11th, just Zachariah Rasch's animation, correct?
Correct.
So this is up in Wisconsin Dells, correct? In the early morning hours area of Wisconsin Dells.
Correct.
And now it's 6 a.m., still remaining in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Dells area. Pause. Looks like we had at 8:11 in the area, what's marked on the map, the Fawn Creek Winery and B&H Trout Fishing and Bait Shop. Again, doesn't mean that they were at those locations, but data in the area of those businesses marked on the map, which is in the sort of lower left-hand corner of the map, correct?
Correct.
Continue to play at 32 seconds. And then you see a pause it there. Sort of a faster animation of the data traveling to the, I won't make you say this, the Oconomowoc area, and at 10:32, right? So this Oconomowoc, Okauchee Lake, Neshota right here on 67, correct?
Correct.
Continuing to play at 45 seconds. Looks like the data from the phone remains at that location. And pause. It remained there until about 11:42. Went a little bit south of where it started, correct?
Correct.
And now it looks like it's traveling south. I think starts on 67. And then is starting to travel east, starting at 11:53. Does that appear to be accurate?
Yes.
Okay. We can pause. And now it looks like the phone gets into the Hales Corners, Greendale area, correct?
Correct.
And that was at 1 minute, 12 seconds. Play. Pause, 1 minute and 17 seconds. Now we're at 1:13 p.m. The phone seems to kind of the data stays at a particular area for some amount of time, just east of what's marked as Greenfield on the map area, correct?
Correct.
Play. Now it goes a little south of that location. And just pause. Now, so then we see the data travel a little bit south. So it's just north of the marker of Greendale, and then it starts to travel west again towards the marker that says New Berlin around 2 o'clock p.m. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And again, we're still on Tuesday, June 11th. Play. And pause at 1:32. So now we see his phone data at 2:37 p.m. Traveling northwest in the area of Highway 164. I mean, we can't say necessarily that it's traveling on that roadway, correct?
Correct.
But in the area of that roadway anyway, correct?
Correct.
So play at 1:33 and pause. So now we're at 3:04, and it now looks like the data is traveling west, and it's just north of what's marked on the map, Monterey, the city of Monterey, and we're at time marker 1:38 in the animation. Play. And our map, sort of pause, our map jumps over, and then the data starts appearing 3:37 p.m., starts appearing at that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
Play. So now we're at 6 p.m., still in the area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And pause it. We start to see a little bit of movement of the data to the east, right?
If there were multiple records and depending on the source,
Okay.
that would be indicative, yeah.
And pause. Pause. And now at 3:03, so at 10:27 and at 10:35, we see the data moving to the north, to the Juneau area, correct?
Correct.
Play. And now the phone travels back to the area of Wood Road, correct?
Correct.
And then it remains in the area of Wood Road, it looks like, for the rest of that evening, correct?
Correct.
So then we'll exit out. And then you did get data records from what we believe to be information of Crystal Rasch's information, correct?
Correct.
And you made an animation of that Google data information, correct?
I did.
And those were similar, the formatting of the data was similar to the information that we viewed from Zachariah Rasch, the information that we viewed earlier in your testimony in Exhibit 296, where it gave us longitude and latitude, correct?
Correct.
And it would have given us that subscriber information and everything like that, correct?
Correct.
So going to that animation, we'll just play that in real time. And Crystal Rasch's is in red, correct?
Correct.
And looking at this, it appears to be consistent, but then we later did an overlay of the two information, correct?
Correct.
So it looks like that phone then also goes back to the Wood Road address, correct?
The area, correct.
The area. So if we can just back that up again to,
Council, is your mic off?
thank you. No, go for it. So 145. So we see it at 4:16 p.m. in the area of the Wood Road address, and if we can just play it. At 5:04, 5:28. Then appears to be a gap 6:38. $8:39, and that's the end. That gap in information, can we necessarily say anything about that gap in information?
No.
Okay. Now, you said you made an overlay of Zachariah Rasch's and Crystal Rasch's information, correct?
Correct.
For June 11th. And we'll go ahead and just play that one in real time. And again, Zachariah Rasch is in purple and Crystal Rasch is in red, correct?
Correct.
45 seconds pausing. They appear to be traveling, their phones at least appear to be traveling in the same area, correct?
Within the close proximity of each other, correct?
Because the data points are pretty close together. It's hard to discern a difference in the two data points, correct?
Correct.
Resuming play at 45 seconds. Pause at 50 seconds. Now we're in that South Milwaukee area, correct?
Correct.
And does that remain consistent that the data points appear to be overlapping, that it's hard to discern the different data points between the two devices in this overlay?
It does.
Play. And pause at 1:04. Again, then both devices appear to travel to the area of that Wood Road address by 4:16 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And there does not, at least from the data, there does not appear to be a substantial pause like we saw on the way down to the South Milwaukee area. That pause sort of in the South Milwaukee area, but no pause on the way back like we saw in that kind of Oconomowoc area, correct?
Correct.
And play at 1:04. And now with the overlay, same information, that the two devices remain at the area on that Wood Road address. And then just the purple seems to go up north, but not the red. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And then you created one more document just isolating the time that the devices get to return back to the Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
So if we can just open that up. Play that at half speed. So this would be starting at 3 p.m. on June 11th, and then ending at midnight, correct?
It would end at 2 a.m. on.
Oh, 2 a.m., thank you. On June 12th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
So if we can just pause that. So this shows when the devices get to that area just north of Monterey, correct?
Correct.
Okay, play. And can you tell which device is tracking there? Is that going to be Zach's device or Crystal's device, or is it hard to discern the... Oh. So that red one there is Crystal's, correct?
Correct.
And that's 11 seconds. You can play again. And then that red one there would be Crystal's again, correct?
Correct.
Can you just pause that for, can you go back? Back. So 309, traveling here, this is Crystal's, red, and then 311, pause. And there's a little indication here right below that. Can you read that from where you're sitting, what it says? Just south of that, the data point?
Waterton.
Say Watertown Regional Medical Center.
Yeah.
Okay. At 15 seconds, play. And now it's traveling, the devices appear to be traveling or had a data point north of that location, correct?
Correct.
And then about 3:29, the devices arrive at the area of Wood Road, correct?
Correct.
And again, we're about 5:30. Both devices appear to remain at Wood Road, correct?
The area, correct.
Now we're at 7, still in the area of Wood Road, correct?
Correct.
Now 8 p.m., still in the area of Wood Road. If we can just pause. So now here at 10:04 p.m., we have a data hit just here to the east with Zach Rasch's device. Again, you said we would need more information, but it's just that we've seen his device over and over again, remaining at the area of Wood Road, correct?
Correct.
And this is the first time looking at all of these maps that we see this kind of pop over of that data in this area, correct?
Correct.
Okay, continue to play, please. Now 10:13, back in that area of the Wood Road address, and now it looks like went over on 26, and then back up into the Juneau area, correct?
Correct.
And then back down to Wood Road, and this is just Rasch's device, or Zachariah Rasch's device, correct?
During this time, correct.
And then it goes back to the area of the Wood Road address. And now we're at 11:45. At 1:12 a.m., still in the area of Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
1:34 a.m., still in the area of Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And now we're just seeing that Zachariah Rasch device, correct?
At the end of the records, correct.
And then at the very end, at 2:32, just back up one more time to the time around 8:30, I think it is, 8:30 p.m. And just plain, is this 8:28 the last time that we get data information from Crystal Rasch's device that read?
I believe at around midnight there's also a
Around
few
midnight,
records.
there's another one. So if we can go to that midnight on June 11th. So that, I guess it'd be June 12th.
Correct.
Is there one between 8:30 and midnight?
No.
So 8:30 and then midnight, and you take it to 2 a.m. and there's not another data point after midnight.
Correct.
And then if we can just play again till the end of the record. So that one is hers there at 12:07
Correct.
a.m. Just play till the end, which would be 2:32. So we're back at 1:12 a.m. Ending, we have 1:34. Still in the area of that Wood Road address, correct?
Correct.
And now when we see those data points on Crystal Rasch's phone at 8:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. on June 11th and around just after 12 a.m. on June 12th, you testified previously, that doesn't mean that she's interacting with the phone. That just means that there's some data usage on the phone, an app working in the background or someone sending a message or some interaction with the tower and the phone, correct? Or some interaction with something in the phone.
Correct.
Not even necessarily the tower, just some data source and the phone.
A Google service, correct.
I do not have any further questions.
All right, we will take our morning break, 15 minutes. Anything before we break?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
All right, Ross.
Good morning, Mr. Anderson.
Good morning.
The company that you work for, that's called Mid-States Organized Crime Information Center,
Correct.
and you said it went by the acronym that was, I think, MOCIC?
MOCIC?
Okay. Is that a governmental agency or is that a private entity?
So we're technically a nonprofit, but receive grant funding from the Department of Justice.
Okay. And you indicated that your work comes from essentially membership dues, annual fees that are paid by various law enforcement agencies?
Correct.
Okay. And you're based out of Springfield, Missouri?
Correct.
When you're given a project or a case to assist on, is it fair to say that you're provided with data from the law enforcement agency
Correct.
and you don't request data yourself?
No.
You don't have any subpoena power to get data from cell phone providers or Google or anyone else?
No.
So it's the law enforcement agency that determines the time frame of the records to request
Correct.
and which records they want to have you analyze.
Correct.
You went through a lot of the mapping visuals for the past couple of hours this morning, and the earliest visual that we saw was for data that was from June 11th of 2024. You'd agree with that?
Correct.
Did you receive any data prior to June 11th of 2024?
It's possible. Correct.
You did or you didn't?
I did.
You did. Did you analyze that data as well?
I only analyzed what was requested by the law enforcement agency.
And was the request then analyze the data from June 11th moving forward?
Correct. Until June 26th.
So law enforcement asked you to only analyze the data from June 11th to June 26th.
Correct.
But it's possible that you received data for a time period prior to June 11th.
Correct. I would have to refer back to the original records.
Do you know approximately, did you, for example, receive data for May of 2026 or April or March?
I don't recall.
when you receive data from law enforcement for whatever time period it may be, I assume that it comes to you in some kind of uploadable spreadsheet format?
Could you clarify?
Sure. When you get data, it comes to you in some type of file, correct?
Correct.
It doesn't come to you in printed out hard copy on paper.
No.
They would send it to you somehow, either on maybe a thumb drive or over email or upload it to the cloud?
Correct. Through our file sharing system.
Okay. So it's a digital electronic file.
Correct.
You mentioned that there's a program that you utilize to process that data. I believe you called it CellHawk,
Correct.
and that's a software program.
It is.
And you use the data that you get through your file sharing platform, and then you somehow move it over into the CellHawk program.
Correct.
And that's not done manually, I assume. Like line by line of the data, you just upload a file.
Right. It would ingest the data and then map it accordingly.
Okay. And so the mapping function is also taken care of by the program. It's not done by an analyst with your organization.
It was done by me.
Okay. It was a poor question, I guess. You get data in some type of format.
Correct.
And what is the format?
For this specific, so Verizon typically returns those in Excel format. Same with Google.
Okay. So then the Excel file that you have, you put it into the CellHawk mapping program.
Correct.
And that program, as you said, ingests that data.
Correct.
And then it provides you with some type of result.
Correct.
And for example, for the data on June 11th, you would put that into the program, and how long would it take for the program to give you a result?
It depends on the file size, but typically a matter of seconds. It would ingest the data.
And the fee that is paid to your agency by a law enforcement agency is done on an annual basis,
Correct.
not per project or for the volume of data that you're sending.
Correct.
I don't have any other questions.
Redirect.
I have nothing, thank you.
All right, you can sit down. This witness be excused.
That's the state's request.
You are excused. Next witness, please.
Mr. Anderson, have a great weekend. Thank you. The state would call Dr. Jordan Carson. And Judge, you just tell me when to start. This will be relatively lengthy testimony, or when to stop. This will be lengthy testimony, so.
We'll stop when lunch is here. Sir, come on up. Please be careful. There's a ramp. You can come right around the court reporter. And if you could just raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you please state and spell your first and last name?
Yeah, it's Jordan Karsten, Jordan Karsten.
How are you employed?
I'm a professional consultant for the Wisconsin State Crime Laboratory's Office of Crime Scene Response, and I'm also a professor of anthropology and criminal justice at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh.
What does that mean, a professional consultant?
So I will assist anytime the crime lab thinks that they need help with forensic anthropology. So if there's a case that involves human skeletonized remains, if there's a case that has heavily decomposed remains, or cases where we're searching for clandestine graves, I get involved.
Briefly, can you describe your qualifications for forensic anthropology?
Yep, I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in anthropology and a Bachelor's of Science degree in health sciences from Grand Valley State University. And then I also have a PhD in anthropology from the State University of New York in Albany, New York.
How long have you worked as a professional consultant with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab?
For the past 4 years.
Do you also consult with any other investigating agencies besides the Wisconsin State Crime Lab?
Yep, so I have worked for agencies including the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office, our State Department of Justice's Division of Criminal Investigation, the FBI, the Defense Department, over the course of these last 13 years.
And you stated you are also a professor. What university was that at again?
University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh.
And how long have you been a professor?
13 years.
And that's also of anthropology, correct?
Yep, anthropology and criminal justice as well.
So what, very briefly, just describe what is the study of anthropology.
Yeah, so that's a hard one for briefly, but anthropology is the study of humanity. And that includes, what it means to be human across all time and space. For that reason, a lot of anthropologists have spent time studying the human skeleton in an effort to understand human evolution over time. And we've realized that we can apply a lot of those methods in the study of the human skeleton to cases involving human skeletonized remains. And so even though anthropology is a very broad subject, my own specialty is in the study of the human skeleton.
So when you come out to the scene, what is your primary job is to identify bone or human bone?
Yep, so it depends on the kind of scene I'm called out to, but a lot of times if we are searching an area for human remains, my role is to identify any discovered items as to if they're bone at all, and then if so, if they're human versus non-human animal. So that's one big role. Another is to look for signs of clandestine graves and assist with the scientific kind of systematic excavation of those graves as well.
And what does that mean, a clandestine grave?
Clandestine grave is where somebody will attempt to hide human remains and by digging a hole in some place that's not a marked cemetery. And so we will search for those relatively frequently.
And what types of things are you looking for when you're looking for a clandestine grave?
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's a shallow grave, you might see some human skeletonized remains on the surface. A lot of times shallow graves may be disturbed by carnivore scavengers, and so we'll see human skeletal elements scattered around the surface, so we'll look for that. Otherwise, we look for disturbed earth. I will sometimes employ a ground-penetrating radar unit to look to see if I can find buried objects under the ground as well.
And what, can you describe that a little bit further, ground-penetrating radar units?
Yeah, ground-penetrating radar units are they look like little, almost like a little electric lawnmower. But what the unit does is it will shoot radio waves down into the earth. And then when it contacts any kind of object that differs in its ability to store electrical energy, some of those radio waves will be sent back up to the surface and it's registered by the machine itself. And so let's say there's a bone buried in a clandestine grave and we walk the GPR over it, because the bone varies in its ability to store electrical energy compared to the surrounding soil, then that will bounce back some radio waves and we can pick that up as a buried object.
Do you only respond to what we believe is a crime scene, or would you respond to other circumstances?
Yeah, I respond anytime law enforcement or medical legal death investigators have a death investigation that involves skeletonized remains. They believe it will. And so although I respond to events that were criminal in nature as many times, I often will respond to events too that are accidental deaths in a wooded area where somebody's not found for a long time and they unfortunately decompose and skeletonize, or other kind of situations, maybe not accidental, but potentially suicide. So it depends. Sometimes they're not always criminal in nature. The thing that gets me involved is if they're skeletonized human remains.
And have you ever responded to scenes? You described a lot of scenes where a body is out in nature and the body has decomposed, so there's only bones left, correct?
Correct.
Have you ever responded to scenes, fire scenes, so the body has burned so that there's very little skin left on the body.
Yes, several.
So you do both of those things.
Yep, as long as the remains are skeletonized or primarily skeletonized, I'll be called in. So if the state fire marshal responds to a scene and they have severely burned human remains that maybe still have some soft tissue but are otherwise burned down to just bone or fragmentary bone, then I'm also called in to assist in those types of cases.
So sometime in June of, well, I believe it was specifically on June 26th, 2024, were you contacted by the Dodge County Sheriff's Office to respond to a scene on Wood Road in what would be the township of Kleiman, but mailing address Juneau, Wisconsin?
Yeah, I was contacted indirectly. So they contacted the crime lab for assistance, and then the crime lab's office of crime scene response contacted me to respond to the scene in the town of Kleiman.
And then did you respond to that scene?
I did.
And what was your role when you responded to that scene?
That day, I used a GPR, so ground penetrating radar unit, to examine one area of interest to investigators to see if there was anything buried. I did not find anything buried in that instance. And then I did help walk around the rest of the scene. And as people were searching the scene, some bones were found that day that I identified as being animal bone.
Did you later come back to that same scene? I guess I should say come back to Dodge County, this time in the city of Juneau, to the impound area of the sheriff's office. I believe it was on Friday, June 28th.
On Friday, June 28th, I did not. I responded associated with this same case to Adams County, where I helped in a land search where there were, my role was to simply identify any found bone as being bone, first of all, and then if it was human versus non-human animal.
Do you recall if anyone from your team was present here on Friday, June 28th, or if you just received some items that were located during a sifting from Friday, June 28th?
Yep, there were DCI special agents who were present that day, and they sent me messages that included pictures where they asked me to identify items as either being bone and potentially human bone, if I could.
So was there another case day that you responded in June directly to the scene on Wood Road?
Yep, I believe that would have been June 29 or June 30. And that was, I was requested by the Dodge County Medical Examiner to come and excavate an area where they believed they saw a surface burn.
And on that date, can you briefly describe what you did on that date, what your role was?
Yep, I went to excavate that surface burn in an effort to see if there were any human remains associated with the surface burn that were concealed under the earth.
And we did, just for your reference, are you aware, was there a representative from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office present on June 30th during that excavation?
Yes.
And do you recall who that was?
There were several, but I know Taylor Niels, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, Niels was there.
And he has testified, but can you briefly describe what that means, excavation, what you direct individuals to do?
Yeah, so in this case, we divided the area of the surface burn up using grid squares. The purpose of that was to remove several inches of dirt from the area of the surface burn, and then each grid square would have its own sifter, so a screen of a 1/4-inch mesh, and then the soil that was removed from that surface burn was placed into the screen to sift to locate very small items of bone.
And why is it important to use that process?
To have spatial control of those remains, right? So that if we did find in a sifter any bone or any item of evidentiary value, we'd know the approximate location where it was located.
And on that date, on June, well, let me say the sifting that occurred on June 28th and June 30th, were there any human remains located?
Yes.
And did you prepare a report outlining the human remains that were located on that date?
I did.
And I'm going to show you what has been marked as Exhibit 400. Do you recognize that report?
I do.
And what is that report?
This is a report that summarizes the findings of that excavation in late June of the surface burn.
And have you also reviewed a PowerPoint presentation that sort of isolates some photos and summaries of that report?
I have.
So does that, first is 400 an exact copy of the report that you later submitted to the, did you submit it to the Dodge County Sheriff's Office or to the medical examiner's office?
I believe both.
And is 400 an exact copy of that report that you submitted to both agencies?
Yes, it is.
I would move 400 into evidence and permission to publish portions of that report to the jury.
No objection.
It'll be received and you can publish it.
So we'll just go to the first slide. It's just obviously the cover page of Exhibit 400, correct?
Correct.
And the case number there, what case number is that?
That's a Wisconsin State Crime Lab case number.
Because you are the, so it's not the sheriff's office case number because you are the consultant for the state crime lab, correct?
Correct.
And then moving to the next slide, this is the second page of Exhibit 400, correct?
Correct.
And what information is contained on this page?
It's just listing the different jurisdictions that I assisted with in this case.
And then does it also at the bottom give us the date of the report?
Yep, the date that the month that the report was submitted.
Now we have the report itself then contains a table of contents, correct?
Correct.
And then some background information, is that correct?
Correct.
That background information, is it fair to say that you just testified to a lot of that background information, how you got involved in this investigation, et cetera?
It is.
So now going on to what is page, formally according to the table of contents, page 2 of the report, what are we looking at here?
That is a fragment of the right temporal bone from a human individual. And specifically that fragment, the temporal bone is a bone that makes up the side of your head and part of the base of your head. It also includes the hole for your ear and a lot of the organs for hearing and also for balance, like your cochlea and your semicircular canals. The part of the temporal bone that makes up the base of the skull is this very large, thick chunk of bone called the petrous pyramid, and that's what's pictured on the slide.
So on the slide, and there is a laser pointer, right? I didn't want to interrupt you. Yep. So there's one end that's the laser pointer, and so if you press the red button, yep. So there's one end that is sort of white and one end that is black. Can you just sort of describe what's going on with this bone here?
Yep, so this is an image of the petrous pyramid. This is what would be a part of it that is inside your cranium, right, in the cavity where your brain is. And what you have is part of that petrous pyramid is stained black, so it's been charred. So when bone is exposed to fire of enough heat and for a long enough duration, it will undergo multiple changes to its appearance. The first change is it'll pass from the kind of off-white, that's non-altered bone that you can see on the left side of the screen, to the charred aspect that you see on the right side of the screen. Then after charring, bone will continue to actually change, and if bone is continued to be exposed to heat of intense enough temperature and duration, it will destroy the organic component of bone, and that leads to something that's known as calcination, where bone will look gray or white, and that's because the only thing that's left over is the mineral component of the bone. The collagen component's all gone, and that resulting bone looks very flaky. You don't see that in this picture. Instead, you see unaltered bone right here, and then charred bone, and then that little strip right in the middle, which is an area of transition between those two.
So now I'm going to go to the next image here, which is page 3 of your report. What are we looking at here?
Yep, so here you've got a good example of calcination that I just talked about. So right there, the one with the black arrow, that bone is, so you can see it's white and kind of white-gray and a bit chalky. That bone's been exposed to fire for a longer period of time, or fire, or a combination of that and fire that's hotter, that's resulted in the destruction of the organic component of the bone. For the rest of the fragments there, primarily you see really charred bone fragments, and they're small pieces of bone. They're, as you can see with the scale bar, kind of tiny little chunks of bone.
And then going on to our next slide here, this is going to be page 4 of your exhibit, and I think more we're discussing, just tell us what's represented on page 4.
Yep, on page 4, it's that same Petrus pyramid that we've seen already. This was the first bone that we discovered while excavating on June 30 to excavate out the surface burn, kind of burn pit area. And yeah, this was the first one we found, and the first one that I saw associated with this case that I could say was diagnostically human.
And what crime lab number would have this been marked?
Crime lab number 16.
And And when you say crime lab number 16, the crime lab actually put markers on each bone when we found it on this date of the dig, correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to show you Exhibit 41 and 42. So you talked about gridding and then crime lab markers. So do these photos here demonstrate when we actually located and where we located Exhibit 16?
They do.
So then I'll just walk by because I think it was Tuesday when the jurors heard this testimony. Walk by both of these pictures here just to refresh their memory where we found, and I think you call this, we were calling this a burn pit, but what's the term that you learned or you used?
I used the term surface burn because rather than a pit, it was kind of an area that you could tell was ashen. There's a lot of ash and had been scraped off the surface.
And really that is a more accurate term than burn pit because this was not significantly below the ground, correct?
Correct.
We sort of commonly would say when we think about a fire pit or an area that we would sit around where there's a fire, we would use the term pit, but this was all on just the surface level, and then it was removed. It didn't go substantially below ground.
Correct.
Okay, now going on to the next slide. Oh, and then those are 41 and 42 there in the slide. Going on next, this is page 5 of your report. What are we looking at here?
So crime lab number 19 was the label applied to this. It's a very small long bone fragment. It is so small, in fact, that there's not much skeletal anatomy preserved, and so it's not possible for me to say that it's conclusively human or not. All I can say is it is bone because you can see both cortical bone and trabecular bone here. It's it's the shape of it's consistent with it being from a long bone, and all that means is that the bone is longer than it is wide, like the tubular bones that make up your arms and legs and fingers and toes. But the fragment itself is so small that very little diagnostic anatomical markers are present where I could point to some shape-specific aspect and say, oh, that is 100% human.
So it could be animal, but it's not so conclusive that it is animal, correct?
Correct.
Like sometimes you're out in the field and you can look at a bone and say, oh, that's definitely a deer bone or a raccoon bone or something like that, correct?
Correct. It's just too small and fragmentary to be able to do that.
Now, the next slide of exhibit, or next slide of the PowerPoint here. Now we are looking at exhibit 21, which is, I'm sorry, crime lab number 21, which is page 6 of exhibit 400. What are we seeing here?
So crime lab number 21 is a maxillary, so that's your upper jaw, left second molar, so your big back teeth that you grind food down with.
And did you analyze this, or?
I examined it and to recognize that it was human in the field when it was discovered. It's morphologically, the cusp pattern, the overall shape of the tooth is diagnostic as being from a human.
And you, do you consult with a forensic dentist?
I do.
And who is that forensic dentist that you consult with?
Dr. Gabriel Legros.
And he was utilized in the course of this investigation as well, correct?
Yes, I believe he did examine that tooth.
Okay. Moving on to the next slide, and this would be exhibit 48, and that is a picture of 21 in the field. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I don't know if that's your hand or someone from your team, but that would be someone just holding the tooth, showing what it looked like in the field, correct?
Correct.
And going on to the next slide, which is page 7 of exhibit 400. If we can just zoom in a bit on this and tell us what we're looking at here.
Crime lab number 22 is another very small bone fragment. Because it's so small and there's almost no skeletal anatomy preserved, it's not possible to say what bone it comes from, a specific bone, and it's not possible to say that it's conclusively human versus some other non-human animal.
You have some circles on the bottom 2 items here. Why are those items circled?
Just pointing out here, right there where the laser pointer is, that there's an area of calcination. And so that's that like most advanced kind of color change that you see with fire exposure. And then in the bottom right there is just a good example of charring on this small bone fragment.
So do we scientifically know how long it takes to get from that point of just regular bone to sort of charring and then completely breaking down the bone?
You can't say that specifically because if you vary the time or the temperature, you can achieve these kind of things. But it takes longer to progress all the way to calcination.
And longer, like hours?
Longer or higher heat, I should say.
Hours, days, weeks?
Depends on the heat of the fire.
And do you know anything about sulfuric acid?
As much as anyone who's used it household-wise. And I do know of its applications in forensic circumstances as well.
So as it applies to human flesh, can it have any impact on human flesh?
Yes, sulfuric acid is a corrosive acid, and so exposure to human tissue will result in its destruction.
Moving on to the next slide, which is page 8 of exhibit 400. What are we looking at here?
This is a very small bone fragment, which is from a rib, but it's so small that it doesn't preserve enough anatomical landmarks or the overall morphology of a rib to say conclusively that it's human.
And what crime lab number was this?
Crime lab number 30.
Okay, and moving on to the next photo here.
Crime lab number 31 is a small cranial vault fragment. So when we use the term cranial vault, we're talking about the big rounded structure that houses your brain. Cranial bone is kind of like a sandwich. It's got two outer, like it's got a spongy part that's housed in between some solid outer parts. And so you can see that in this fragment, but the fragment itself is so small that we can't conclusively say what part of a cranium it comes from. And because of its small size, we also cannot say that it conclusively comes from a human either.
So, but we can say that it comes from a cranium.
Correct.
Just not a human cranium.
And it may come from a human cranium, but we can't say that with absolute certainty.
Okay. And moving on to, so I believe I stated it, but that previous slide was page 9 of Exhibit 400, and now moving on to page 10 of Exhibit 400. This is now crime lab number 33. What are we looking at here?
This is another long bone fragment, right? So one of the bones that are tubular, longer than wide. It's pretty small. It, again, is so small it lacks enough anatomical landmarks or overall shape to say conclusively if it's human or not, or to say conclusively what bone it's from. But generally speaking, the size of it's consistent with, say, coming from a long bone like a human phalange, which is a finger bone, or maybe a metacarpal, which are the bones of your palms, or maybe toes, or the bones of the arch of your feet, which are all long bones and relatively smaller.
And so do we have any of that charring or evidence of burning on this bone here?
Yep, there is charring, evidence of charring that you can see right along the edges here. That part that's uncharred is a part that sits in the center of the bone during life. And then if you flip it around, you can see that the outside of it is also charred. So it's almost completely charred.
So moving on then to the next page. So this would be page 11 of Exhibit 400.
Yep, Crime Lab 34 is another small charred bone fragment. So it's again too small and preserves too little skeletal anatomy to say for certain where it comes from in terms of specific bone, or to say conclusively that it's human, but the bone itself is charred.
And then moving on to the next page, which is page 13, because I believe that page 12 just indicated that there was a crime lab number 36, and there was a determination that that number was not skeletal. Correct. So then we move to page 13 of Exhibit 400, which is crime lab number 37.
Yep. Crime Lab 37 similarly is a very small bone fragment that you can't classify to a specific element or say conclusively that it's human, and it's got it's a chunk of charred bone.
And again, you use this word trabecular. Can you tell me what that means again? Trabecular? What?
The trabecular bone you can see like right there. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but it is spongy bone. So inside a lot of your bones, you have this trabecular or spongy, almost looks like spindly bone. And during your life, that's where your marrow sits. So your bone marrow and also marrow that stores fat sits inside that trabecular bone.
And then going on to the next slide. So this would be page 14 of Exhibit 400, crime lab number 38.
It's another small bone fragment. In this case, it lacks any thermal alterations, so no charring or calcination. But again, the bone fragment is so small, it could not be determined to be conclusively human or recognized as to a specific type of bone.
Okay. Going on to page 15 of Exhibit 400. What are we looking at here?
This is Crime Lab 39, so this is a small bone fragment, but one that we can say is conclusively human and also recognize a specific type of bone. So on the screen right there, you can see what's known as the superior articular facet of a lumbar vertebra. The vertebrae make up your backbone or spine. Lumbar vertebrae make up the very bottom part of it that for most of you are probably resting against the chair. And then it's also the very back part of the vertebra called a pedicle, and also a little area called the mammillary process. And almost the entire little fragment is charred. The shape and size of the vertebra itself is diagnostically human.
And again, that is basically because of the nature and shape of this bone, correct?
Yep, enough bones preserved here, and in this case, several anatomical landmarks are preserved that we can use to classify the bones to a specific type, in this case lumbar vertebra, and recognize that it's unique to our own species, Homo sapiens.
And I'm going to show you Exhibit 52, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. These were all photos previously testified to by Lieutenant Nails. And if you could just briefly go through those, do those photos represent the bones that we just testified to?
Yep, several.
And some of them, we don't have markers in the dirt, correct?
Correct. Some of them were found in sifters.
Okay. And I'm just I'll do two at a time, walking them by the jury just to remind them. So this is 52 and 55. So which bones are we looking at here in 52 and 55?
Be number 30, I believe, in 52, and 31 in 55.
Okay. And then the next is 56 and 57. What exhibit numbers are we looking at?
So Crime Lab 33 and Crime Lab 34.
Okay. Now 58 and 59.
So 58 is 37, which is that lumbar vertebra fragment, and then 38 is a next bone, which I don't know if we've talked about yet.
Oh, I think that 37 might have been the one that was not.
Yep, 38 is a small bone fragment that we haven't been able to ID as human or to a specific type of bone.
Skip that one then. We'll do 60 here. So we'll do 59 and 60. So 38 and 39.
38 and
right?
39, correct.
And then moving on to, and I got ahead of myself there. So 16, what are we looking at here in 16?
Yep, number 37 is a fragmentary piece of a human vertebral body. So the vertebrae, the bones that make up your spine, have like a backwards part that kind of projects backwards and connects to muscles, allows you to move your trunk around. And then the bodies of the vertebrae are what actually bear the weight of your torso. And so what we have here is a piece of a human vertebral body. The size and shape of it suggests it's either from the thoracic region of the spine, which is the vertebrae that make connections to your ribs, or the lumbar region of the spine, which is the very bottom part of your back. That bone itself is diagnostically human in terms of its morphology, its overall shape. And then it has a mixture of charring and calcination. Then beyond that, it also has a small osteoarthritic growth that's recognizable and still preserved.
And what does that mean exactly?
Typically, the older you get, the higher the probability of this, but if genetics plays a role, obviously, so does your lifestyle. But over the course of the adult lifespan, some folks will develop small bony growths around joints. And so each vertebra makes a joint with the one above it and below it. And so little osteoarthritic growths can form in those kind of situations, and one's observable here.
And then going on to, so that was page 16 on Exhibit 400, going on to page 17 of Exhibit 400.
Yeah, so on 17, you can see in the circle the actually osteoarthritic bone spur. And then also included in the container that was labeled number 37 were a whole host of small, charred and calcined trabecular fragments of trabecular bone, that spongy bone that sits inside many skeletal elements. So you can see those here. And so some are white and calcined, and others are dark and charred, and it reflects exposure to fire.
And does this show the different level of exposure or at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look here, you can see a level of calcination on this bone fragment that indicates that it has reached a point where all that organic aspect of the bone has been destroyed through heat exposure, whereas the one right next to it is charred and hasn't quite reached that level of calcination. So it does show a variety of types of fire exposure here.
And at some point, what happens to the bone the longer it's exposed to fire?
Then it becomes calcined, which almost makes it chalky, because all that's left for the bone is the mineral aspect of the bone.
And can we identify the bone then just by looking at the dirt?
Well, it's usually will stay whole unless it's pulverized, and so even in this, the lumbar, the vertebral body fragment that we have here, it's still recognizable even though much of it is calcined.
And how could one pulverize a bone after the burning process?
Like in modern, commercial cremation, bodies are burned and then they're pushed apart with, mechanical equipment. And so anything that would take a highly chalky calcined bone and kind of manipulate it mechanically would be something that could, result in greater bone destruction.
Could things like a shovel do it? Would that be strong enough?
Yeah, depending on the level of calcination, yes.
Could something like a hammer do it? Would that be strong enough?
Yeah, depending on the level of calcination, yes.
Going on to page 19. What are we looking at here?
19 shows a couple of additional bone fragments. So the two on the top are a cranial vault fragment that on the ectocranial surface, which is the part that's like towards your hair, is primarily calcined. And then on the endocranial surface is charred. This bone fragment is very small. So again, we can't say conclusively what bone it's from, or even in this case that it's for sure diagnostically human, but its overall shape is consistent with it very likely being a part of a human frontal, which is the bone that makes up your forehead.
And on the side of this, on the PowerPoint, so what crime lab or what container did these fragments come from?
Number 42.
And is this from the sifting from the, if you can recall, the sifting from the 30th or from the impound on the 29th?
I believe this is from the 29th.
Okay. Anything else on this slide on 19 that needs to be discussed?
Container 42 also included some small, very small bone fragments that were primarily calcined, like you can see here, and they're mostly trabecular bone. Those fragments couldn't be ID'd to a specific bone and cannot be said to be conclusively human.
And now, moving on to page 20 of Exhibit 400. What are we looking at here?
On the very top are two views of a long bone shaft fragment from a larger long bone, probably something like a tibia or a femur. But again, they're relatively small and lack preservation of enough anatomical landmarks to say if they're conclusively human or even what specific bone they're part of. But they're primarily calcined, as you can see, with the gray kind of color, little bit of charring in a couple of the corners. And then at the very bottom is also from 42 is another set of small long bone fragments that are likely from a non-human animal.
Okay. And now that concludes, fair to say that concludes the bone fragments that are contained within the report of Exhibit 400, correct?
Correct.
And then the last thing contained in Exhibit 400 are a summary of your forensic anthropological findings, correct?
Correct.
And so what were those anthropological findings as it related to the June findings?
From that surface burn, we recovered diagnostically human skeletal and dental material, the overwhelming majority of which had experienced thermally related changes to the bone, including charring and calcination.
And so were we able to say anything about the sex of the bones or anything of that nature?
The remains were too fragmentary to develop a biological profile of the decedent. So we weren't able to say conclusively that the individual was male or female. We weren't able to say conclusively how old they were at the time that they died. We couldn't say, what kind of population group they come from, if they're white or black, Asian, Native American. We couldn't say how tall they were, but we could say that there were human skeletal remains recovered from that surface burn, and those human skeletal remains had been altered substantially by exposure to fire.
Okay. And Judge, you do want me to keep going, correct? Or we're switching over to another report now, but I can keep going until...
Keep going.
Okay. So now at some point, were you requested to come back to this location in Dodge County?
I was.
And when were you requested to come back to this location?
It was in late October of that same year.
And do you recall why you were requested to come back to this location?
I was requested to come back because we had found so few remains of the decedent that we believed, or the investigators believed, that it was worthwhile to institute another search of the property in an effort to locate some of the missing aspects of this decedent's skeletonized remains.
And do you recall what specific date or dates you returned to the property?
I believe the first time I came back was October 24, and the second time I came back was October 30.
So referencing October 24, can you talk about what happened? Well, first, who you were with on that date when you came back on October 24.
Yep. On October 23, I was contacted by a Dodge County medical examiner who requested that I assist on a search of the property on the 24th. And so I drove to the property in the town of Kleiman and joined in on a systematic line search of the property where we had personnel from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, the medical examiner's office, myself, arranged ourselves essentially shoulder to shoulder to walk across the property, disturb leaves, and look for any evidence of human skeletonized remains. And during that initial part of that search, we did find some bone, but at least initially, I was able to recognize them all as being non-human animals.
At some point, did you observe what you believe to be human bone on October 24th.
Yep, investigators from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office called me back over to the area of the surface burn, and just adjacent to that, they had found some scattered, what they believed to be bone. After I went to that area and took a look at those scattered bones, I was able to recognize several diagnostically human skeletal elements sitting on the surface of the earth.
What, on October 24th specifically, what process was used then to collect and search in that area?
We flagged the remains, the bones that were present on the surface, and then we utilized another grid in an effort to recover those remains and see if we could find any that were depressed into the earth again and sifted through dirt that we excavated through.
And was there only one area that was gridded and searched on the 24th?
For gridded and searched, yes. And what was interesting is when I saw the scattered skeletonized remains was that it appeared to have been the type of scattering that was done by a carnivore scavenger. And near where these remains were scattered, we could see a small hole that looked like it had been dug at by some type of carnivore scavenger.
Was that significant to you for any reason?
It was to me because it was an area adjacent to the surface berm, and so it appeared that some human remains had been placed under the earth adjacent to the surface berm, and that at some point after we had left in June, carnivore scavengers located it, and it was not deep, and so they were able to dig themselves into that area and pull up human remains.
So then,
All right, we'll tell you this is a good place to break. Ladies and gentlemen, lunch is ready, so you are excused. We'll take an hour for lunch, and please do not discuss the case. I won't elaborate. All right, we'll take an hour for lunch.